This is a manhole cover, a perfectly round slab of iron, heavy enough to break your foot, strong enough to carry a truck. It sits flush with the street, silent and ignored, hiding in plain sight. To most people, it's nothing more than the ground beneath their feet, but beneath it lies a maze. A network of tunnels, pipes, and cables that keep a city alive. They are everywhere, millions of them in every major city on Earth. They cover storm drains in Mumbai, sewer lines in New York, and fiber optic hubs in London. They are the gates to the underworld, a world you're not supposed to see, a world you almost never think about until one goes missing. Because sometimes they do, vanish. Not one or two, but hundreds, stripped from the streets overnight. Entire neighborhoods left with open pits where solid ground used to be. In the best case, it's an inconvenience. In the worst, it's lethal. Swallowing cyclists, wrecking cars, breaking bones. And the reason for these disappearances is almost always the same: money. The black market trade in stolen manhole covers spans continents. From Beijing to Baltimore, they're pried up, hauled away, and sold for scrap before sunrise. A single night's haul can be worth thousands. But here's where the story gets strange. Because not all of them are stolen for profit. Some are taken as trophies, some as art, some for reasons no one can explain, and the deeper you go, the stranger it gets.
Place stolen manhole covers.
Someone is stealing manhole covers during truck, and officers say the trio had stolen manhole covers in the back. News Channel 5 reporter Shay Harris joined us.
These slabs of metal are more than just infrastructure. They're cultural icons, engineering marvels, and sometimes dangerous weapons. In certain cities, they don't just disappear, they explode. This is the full story of manhole covers. It's hard to overstate just how many of these things there are. In New York City alone, there are more than 600,000 manhole covers. That's more than one for every 15 residents. They're so common that you can walk 10 meters in almost any direction in Manhattan and step on one. They are part of the landscape, as familiar as lampposts and fire hydrants. And that familiarity is exactly why most people never question them. The first manhole covers appeared in the 19th century when cities were expanding rapidly and sewers were being dug beneath their streets. These heavy iron lids were the simplest solution, easy to produce, durable, and most importantly, secure. They had to be because underneath them ran the lifelines of a city: water mains, steam pipes, telecommunication cables, the arteries of civilization. For over a century, manhole covers remained essentially unchanged, circular, iron, and heavy, but their constancy also meant they faded into the background. In the eyes of most people, they weren't technology anymore, just things in the ground. That invisibility made them the perfect target for a certain kind of theft. It starts with a crowbar and a truck. In many parts of the world, the value of scrap metal can spike overnight. When it does, those 200 pounds of cast iron embedded in the street suddenly become a payday. Crews work fast, prying a cover free in seconds, tossing it into the back of a vehicle, and driving off before anyone notices. By morning, it's on its way to a foundry. The numbers are staggering. In 2004, Beijing lost more than 2,000 covers in less than a year. Baltimore reported 700 stolen in just a few months. Johannesburg, Chicago, London, no major city was immune. Thieves weren't targeting any one neighborhood. They were targeting the material itself. In places where unemployment was high and enforcement low, manhole covers became currency. The danger this creates is immediate. A missing cover is not a pothole. It's a vertical drop, sometimes several meters down, into concrete or running water. In China, news outlets documented cases of cyclists vanishing into holes in the middle of the night. Cars hitting open manholes at full speed ripped their tires and suspension to shreds. And for pedestrians, the risk was even worse. City governments scrambled. Some began welding covers in place, making them harder to remove without heavy tools. Others switched to composite covers made of fiberglass or concrete, lighter, cheaper, and worthless to metal dealers. In extreme cases, manholes were fitted with locking mechanisms that could only be opened with special keys. But every new tactic brought new problems. Concrete covers, for example, cracked under the weight of trucks. Fiberglass ones wore down in bad weather. Welded covers slowed down emergency repairs, forcing workers to cut them open during floods or pipe bursts. And locks could be broken by anyone determined enough. It was a game of cat and mouse, with entire cities as the playing field. But theft for scrap wasn't the only reason these covers went missing. In Japan, they were disappearing for a very different reason: beauty. Across the country, local governments commission ornate designs for their covers. Detailed coats of arms, flowers, animals, even cartoon characters. The artistry is so striking that tourists go on manhole pilgrimages to photograph rare designs. That popularity created a black market of its own. Collectors, both domestic and foreign, were willing to pay hundreds for a rare or discontinued cover. Thieves would pry them up at night, smuggle them away, and resell them quietly. In the eyes of the law, it was still theft. In the eyes of the thief, it was just preserving art. And then there were the eccentric cases. In 2017, British police raided a man's property and found over 200 manhole covers stacked in neat rows in his garage. He had no plan to sell them, no clear motive at all. In Spain, one cover turned up as a nightclub coffee table. In Germany, another became the base for a backyard fire pit. The reasons ranged from practical to absurd, but the thefts kept happening. The truth is, these slabs of metal are engineering marvels in disguise. A good manhole cover can last 100 years with no maintenance. It can support 20 tons of pressure without cracking. And yet, it's still designed to be removed by a single worker with nothing more than a metal hook. That balance between strength and usability is not an accident. Their round shape is one of the simplest but most elegant safety designs in history. A circle cannot fall through its own opening, no matter how you rotate it. A square or rectangle can, if tilted diagonally, which could be fatal for anyone working underground. That one detail decided over a century ago has quietly prevented countless accidents. In February 2010, downtown Omaha woke up to chaos. An underground explosion ripped through a section of the city's electrical grid, sending a manhole cover flying more than 30 meters down the street. Security footage caught it for a split second, a blur of iron spinning end over end, before smashing into the side of a parked van. No one was hurt, but the city's utility crews spent the rest of the day lifting covers to vent the gas that had been building beneath. Events like this aren't freak accidents. They're the inevitable outcome of a system that was never designed to be permanent. Many of the pipes and cables running under modern cities were laid decades ago, some more than a century. Steam pipes from the 1920s run next to modern fiber optic bundles. Old asphalt has been patched and repatched so many times it seals manholes airtight. The result is a perfect trap for methane, hydrogen, and other flammable gases. New York City has become infamous for these explosions. Some years there are over 4,000 reported manhole incidents, ranging from small puffs of smoke to full-blown blasts that hurl covers into the air like coins. In 2007, one incident launched a cover through the hood of a taxi on West 57th Street. The driver survived. The taxi did not. Utilities have tried almost everything to stop it. Pressure vents, bolt-down lids, chemical sealants to keep water out of cable vaults. In Boston, some covers have been replaced with heavy steel grates, allowing gas to escape. In Chicago, sensors have been installed to detect heat spikes underground before a cable bursts into flames. But all of these are patchwork solutions on a system that's fundamentally fragile, and the danger isn't just vertical. When a cover blows, the pressure inside can turn it into a spinning blade, ricocheting off asphalt or nearby buildings. In 1996, a blast in Cleveland sent 3 covers hurtling sideways, smashing storefront windows and showering the street with glass. Witnesses describe the sound as a giant metal coin flipping forever, before slamming to the ground. But while the engineering side of the story is grim, there's a cultural side that's oddly charming. Across Europe, manhole covers have quietly become part of urban tourism. In Paris, you can buy souvenirs shaped like the city's distinctive drain covers. In Helsinki, one design featuring the city's coat of arms has become so popular that locals actually complained when a batch of them was stolen. Not because of the theft itself, but because they were afraid the replacements wouldn't match the original style. This love for design has taken on a life of its own in Japan. Entire towns have adopted custom covers that showcase their history, folklore, or local wildlife. In Sapporo, one series features salmon leaping from stylized waves. In Kobe, another shows the city's skyline framed by flowers. Photographers travel hundreds of kilometers just to capture these designs, posting them online in dedicated manhole enthusiast forums. Yes, that's a real thing, but popularity has a price. Rare designs fetch high prices on the collector's market, and while most are traded legitimately, theft is always lurking in the background. In 2019, a limited edition Pokemon-themed cover installed in the city of Ibusuki vanished just 3 weeks after it was placed. It reappeared on a resale site with an asking price equivalent to $1,200. What's strange is that the black market for manhole covers doesn't only exist in poorer regions. In wealthy cities, theft is often about novelty or rebellion rather than survival. In 2015, police in Berlin arrested 2 men carrying 4 covers in the back of a car. Their excuse? They were collecting them for a party. Authorities never explained what kind of party that was. And it's not just people who take them. In some regions, flooding or landslides can lift covers straight out of the ground, carrying them downstream. In Manila, tropical storms have been known to scatter covers across entire districts, forcing residents to improvise with wooden boards until replacements arrive. Losing a cover in these situations isn't theft, it's just nature being stronger than steel. Still, no matter the cause, every missing cover is a hazard. That's why some cities now embed GPS trackers in high-value designs, allowing them to be traced if stolen. Others use locking rings that require special tools to open. Tools that naturally are sometimes stolen themselves. It's an arms race fought in slow motion, hidden in plain sight under our feet. And yet, for all the thefts, explosions, and strange cultural twists, manhole covers remain one of the most resilient pieces of urban infrastructure ever invented. They have survived wars, earthquakes, hurricanes, and the occasional skateboarder with more confidence than skill. They are, quite literally, the lids on civilization. But the story doesn't end with function, because in certain places manhole covers aren't just protecting the underground, they're hiding it. The tunnels beneath them lead to forgotten subways, abandoned Cold War bunkers, and entire neighborhoods that no longer exist above ground. Places where history is preserved, locked away behind a circle of iron, and if you're willing to lift one and step inside, you might find that the real story isn't about the cover at all, but about what lies beneath.